This is the AI for Business podcast, teaching entrepreneurs how to cut through the noise and capture attention in the AI age. I'm Francis Ablola, co-creator of AI for Business. In this episode, you'll hear an extraordinary conversation between my business partner, Dolmar Cross, and Brad Holcman. Brad is a 4-time Emmy-nominated TV producer behind hit shows like Duck Dynasty, Intervention, Sons of Anarchies, and so many others that you love. Brad shares the secrets of positioning and finding the hook that draws people in, whether you're creating content or building a business. Let's get into it.
Today, we're just, again, hopping on here and having some fun. It's my honor tonight to have on Mr. Brad Holcman. Brad is, man, this guy is, for one, probably the best storyteller I've ever met. I can't wait to watch him speak. So if you haven't had a chance to hear Brad speak, you're going to have a chance at the event, hopefully, if you're coming. But this guy always blows me away every time he takes the stage. Again, for those that may not know Brad already, he was a producer at the A&E network, and he's kind of redefined the reality television side of things. He's been involved in the Duck Dynasty, Intervention. Trying to remember all these off the top of my head. There's so many. Zombie house flipping, of course, with none other than our own and my business partner, Dolmar Cross. Triple digit flip. Gosh, you have such a list. I'm six.
They're so forgettable too.
Forgettable. Oh my gosh.
So big and forgettable. Before you, I want to thank you, Brian, Dolmar, Francis, and the entire Real Advisor team. They have been an incredible bright light in my world and hundreds of others. So I am forever grateful and honored to be here in front of all of these people. I am involved in a lot of communities. I know a lot of people. There's very few that are memorable and very few that would be my first calls. And I am fortunately not unique in that thinking. There are so many others that think this way. So you're in the right place. If you're not in Orlando, you're absolutely 1,000 missing out, not because of me, but because I am a student when I'm in Orlando, when I will be there. I was there in Jacksonville. But if you can't make it to Orlando, there's going to be more behind it, and find out more. There are calls over the week, their mentorship, their guidance. They pour so much into everyone that is involved in any part of their community, big or small. I am so thankful that you guys, I'm partish of the teamish, and excited to be here tonight. So thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you. And I'm so glad that we cross paths. I know I can say the same for all of my partners. I believe Dolmar is joining us as well. I'm not sure if he's hopped on yet, but
I'm here.
Oh, you're on as well. Awesome.
I am.
There he is, the star of one of Brad's creations, the Zombie House Flipping Tampa. What an amazing show, by the way. Actually, on that topic, I actually don't even know, what initially drew you to the concept of transforming zombie properties for zombie house flipping? How did you, what that concept?
I can't make the claim for showcasing crappy houses to turn into happy houses. That is not my concept. That is been on television for a very long time. The transformation, people like transformation, whether it's, and I'll go to the other side. I was very grateful to be involved in Intervention for a dozen years. And that's a transformation show. You go from somebody on death's door to hopefully living a life of sobriety, and audiences just like befores and afters. So on the other side of that, what better before and after is a crappy house to a beautiful house? And it's relatable because hopefully most people watching television have a roof over their head. Most people really have a dream to transform a room in their house into a beautiful house. And the great thing about zombie house flipping is it takes it to another level. These are homes that hopefully most of them are not lived in, although we know that some are. And what Dolmar and his team, really more Keisha, which is his wife. Dolmar is just the sexy face there. Keisha does the real work. Dolmar once in a while will pick up a hammer. off the floor and put on a table. He, it's really a fantastic process. And what I love about the real estate industry, not just for television, is what's not really talked about is the fact that these homes are the eyesore in the community. They are the homes that when you drive by, people just turn away. And what Dolmar and his team do is literally welcomed into these communities because he is turning one house at a time on these blocks into a beautiful house, and everybody loves it. And that for me, there's great television in the visual transformation, but there's depth to these shows that they're really making a change in a community. And everybody profits, not just financially, but visually and employment. Dolmar, I'm sure on any one of your flips, how many people do you pay out on a flip? So many people are making money on these things. And you sit at the CEO top level of it. So what better television to showcase all of this? To be in business with Dolmar for quite a while and see so many of his projects has been truly one of the highlights of my career. By the way, Dolmar's the one that survived and thrived out of all the zombie franchise. And there is no secret why. If you watch the show, which it's on A&E's on Saturday mornings and Sundays and all the other platforms you can watch it, you are going to watch 4 or 5 or 6 of them. It's addicting. It's addictive television. One, because of the houses that Dolmar and his team transform, but also because of Dolmar and Keisha and the team. They're really fun to watch. Yeah.
That's over 100 episodes, right? I think.
No,
so, well over.
All franchise, absolutely. Yeah, it's more. How many have you done? 40 now? Is it?
We are 35. We have 4 left. Finishing. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dolmar and being the last of the zombie house flipping cast, Dolmar and Keisha, how do you know who's like a fit? Like, how do you, with all these shows, like how is it that you determine who's going to be a good role for the shows?
Well, I'm literally going through that as we speak. As some of you may know, I left the day-to-day of the W2 world just over a year ago. To really write my own story. And then that's a lot of what I'm about in the last year is own my path, produce my own story. And when you've been involved with something so long, you can't help but be somewhat good at it. So I just got called. I was somewhat retired and just got called back to play a few games. I'm actually flying out tomorrow to a location because we're about to go to series on another project. Dolmar, we actually, the person. Here's the thing. There are probably 10 to 12 different things that make somebody stick out and be distinct. It could be the process of how they get into a home. It could be their design. It could be a relationship. So for example, on Triple Digit Flip, it was Pace and Jamil, Pace Morby and Jamil Damji, fantastic real estate investors. They are best friends. Pace has a wife, Laura, that's in the business that sells the homes. And Jamil has a sister, Rahima, that designs the homes. So you literally just wrote a television show based on their organic relationship, and they happen to be good on camera as well. They are all very different characters. And they do really good and unique work. So there's so many factors at play. It could be the location. We've never seen that city before. In fact, one network told me we're done with Miami. I don't know what that means, but there could be an A+ character, A+ story in Miami, but this network, they don't want Miami. So a lot of it is you just swing. The more at bats, the more hits. And I give one of those lines. Pete Rose, if you know he's a baseball player, he had the most hits in baseball. But he also has another record, the most at bats. And that's the lesson, is the more times you're up, you're eventually going to hit the ball. So you got to keep going. So for us in the television industry, we keep going at bat, and you, the audience, are going to tell us if you like them. There's sometimes that it's so undeniable. When the Robertsons, which is Duck Dynasty, were brought into our office, and it was just before I got there, and it was my former boss that really transformed that show. It was a hunting show that turned into a duck making show, because at the core of it, it was a family that was undeniable. The relationship that they had with each other, you didn't care if they read the phone book. It would be so interesting. So does anybody really care about the making of a duck call? No, nobody. Not even them, I would argue. But you wanted to be at their Sunday dinner. You wanted Miss K to cook dinner for you. You wanted, unfortunately, Phil passed a couple of days ago. You wanted him to recite a passage. He's very much a man of faith, and I spoke to him a lot about faith, and I'm Jewish, and he was so interested in Judaism. And the one thing that he always wanted to do was go to Israel, and I've been to Israel quite a few times, and and those are the things that jump off the screen. Much in the way that if you can describe why you like Dolmar is exactly what we're trying to do here. We lose a lot more than we win. So for every win, we're losing 7-8 times over. So again, the more at bats that we have, the more at some point you're going to like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I had a question. I want to know if you've ever regretted giving someone an opportunity to be on TV or on one of your platforms.
I don't, that's not how. Buddy, I have two answers.
Put him on the spot here. I want the juicy. I got to ask the juicy stuff.
I don't. I've regretted continuing people's runs, not knowing the opportunity that they had. How about that? If I was in a position where, for the most part, I worked with people that I liked. And if everybody knows the no like or trust factor in business, you first have to be known. If you're not known, I can't like or trust you, right? So check the known. The like is second. You actually like somebody before you trust them. I mean, think about the relationships you have. So for me, I had to like them. I had to like them. I had a gift to put people on television, and still do. That's really exciting. It's really fun. And what I want that person to do is I want that person to be forever grateful, not to me, but to the opportunity, because they have an opportunity to change thousands, millions of lives by being on television. They're not speaking to me. They're speaking to an audience. And I want somebody to really be serious and hold that dearly, because if you think about shows that have changed your lives, that's the same. Anybody who's on television has that opportunity. Not only to change their own life, but others that are watching. So I want people to be very serious. And by the way, Dolmar can tell you this, being on a television show sucks. The actual producing of a television show, it is the most boring thing imaginable. It is awful. It's terrible. It very well can kill your business as well. I may have a few stories, unfortunately, of that. But it's a crop that forever blossoms. In television, these shows don't go away, especially in the home genre. Dolmar's episodes will be airing for 10, 15 years. It is a lead funnel. It's a magnet. It's something that just keeps going and going and going. So I want him to be very grateful for it. I want him to take and push it forward and take advantage of it. And frankly, that's the whole Real Advisor team. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that has taken a better advantage of an opportunity than this team. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it weren't. I'm so obsessed with these guys because of how smart they are when it comes to business, when it comes to irresistible offers, which is what I need to be doing with a television show, and really changing people's lives. So, that's the long-winded answer of, I don't think okay, so there was one. All right.
I knew it.
Yeah. So I very grateful. 60 Days In was one of my babies. I helped create that show. If you haven't watched it, go on Netflix. It's the craziest show I've ever been a part of. We send in 7 regular people undercover to live in a jail for 60 days. 100% of it's real. 100%. These people are living in a jail. They shouldn't be there. And it is, they sign their life on a document that basically says, if anything happens in the jail, 45 seconds to a minute is the amount of time that we have to get them. There's a lot of things that can happen to you in 45 seconds in a jail environment. So it's called 60 Days In. It's crazy. So what we did with casting is we do not tell them that it's a television show. We do not tell them that it's 60 Days In, because what we don't want is reality television characters go, oh, I'm a fan of 60 Days In. And then nobody's going to survive jail if they just want to be on television. It's going to be very bad. But I can't control what people are saying. Sometimes people get through. And there was one season, within the first 3 days of shooting, 3 people tapped out. And that was an ongoing thread in the season, is they did have the ability to tap out. They had ability to say, I'm out. That was nobody inside the jail knew that. It was just the producers. So I'm sitting here. We had 4 men, 3 men. It was not women. 3 men dropped out in 3 days. They all promised that they were going to spend 60 days. They all had a purpose, a reason for it. And that's when, and the casting process is months to get on that show. It is one of the most intensive casting, and they took 3 spots from other people. You can never understand if you're going to survive in a jail environment until you get there, surely. But there was nothing that we saw in their footage that I'm out after 3 days. In fact, somebody lasted, I think it was 6 hours. Wow. 6 hours. Now, I will tell you, I couldn't last 7 seconds, but I'm not a reality show. I'm not trying to cast for a show or being sincere with what I'm saying. And then eventually we tell them towards the end, because we have to be honest. They don't walk into a jail going, I don't know that I'm on a television show. At some point, we do have to tell them. And at that point, they probably should turn right around. But yeah, for the most part, I do think we do enough due diligence that the right people are on the show. So yeah.
Yeah, there's being a part of reality TV, that world, is very interesting to me. There was no coaching for this before I got involved. We're just thrown in, and we got to figure out how to marry both worlds. For me, on a real estate show, marry the real estate construction side with TV and those deadlines and so on, and capturing the story of that. And what Brad and the network have done with at A&E is very different than what you may see on other networks. A lot of other shows are scripted, and Brad has always been firm on wanting to follow the real, right? The documentary style of what's going on. So Brad, I have a question for you with that in regards to that. How do you balance authentically telling a story that is real with also trying to keep the audience entertained?
So one of my lines is I've always tried to put the real in reality television, or putting the real back in reality television, and putting, frankly, the real back in real estate television. And there's definitely a reason why I like you guys with your name, Real Advisors, because that's something that I live by. So sometimes, let's just say if you're making a meal and you have amazing ingredients. So I've got 10 great ingredients. I'm making this beautiful meal. What does a great chef does? They taste it, a little bit. And then they're like, oh boy, these 10 great ingredients, not exactly right. So add a little bit more salt, maybe some paprika, some whatever. That's how we work it. So we believe that we have most of the meal already made with great ingredients. It's that extra little paprika or salt and pepper that we need to put into a meal that makes it there. We do not promote anything that's not capture whatsoever. Here's what we will do. Call it is. We have act breaks, so an act break is every 3 to 10 minutes. The commercials are the real stars because they pay for the shows. So how do I get you to come back? It's cliffhangs, right? So sometimes in the real world, there's something that dramatically happens in your world, but then you get on the other side of it and literally nothing happened. Like my wife does that. Like you just worry and worry and worry, and then all of a sudden something happens, and it's really nothing, right? So we'll have what we call false act outs, and they're not false because we manufactured it. They're false because it wasn't this big, huge, dramatic moment afterwards, and that's how we get some of the creative in there. But what we do is we enter worlds that are organically full of a roller coaster ride. So if anybody has flipped a house, which I am, that's a whole other topic of conversation. It is not a straight line. I don't think there's been any house that Dolmar's ever flipped that's a straight line. There's always moments that make you feel like, I've been doing this for so long. Why didn't I think about that? Or why is this happening now? Or I can't, human nature, or a hurricane comes through, or, just there's something that happens. So what we're very blessed with is a lot of opportunity for things, and generally they pay off. So a story in reality happens before you shoot, great ingredients, during the shoot, making the meal, and after, where's the salt and pepper that is maybe missing? We need to add a little bit more. So a show gets created in all parts of that process, and we can. The brilliance of TV is through the music and edits and things like that. We always make things true, but maybe they're a heightened version of reality.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these upcoming episodes with my wife, especially, and some of those fun moments that I'm pretty sure the editors are going to use as cliffhangers for the show. Just speaking of not every house being a straight line. I mean, just today I had to threaten filing a lawsuit against one of these licensed contractors that we hired to do the plumbing at one of our houses, and it's a 2-story house. They cut the floor joists on my second level, so now the entire second level is not structurally sound. You can't even walk on it, and they cut it to run pipes through it, and so it was a whole mess. And of course, the producer's like, we got to capture this. We got to document this moment. And so stuff like that is what we deal with. Brad, what's your proudest moment you'd say of all you've done? You have such a long history, such a long resume. What do you think, if you can even pinpoint one, is your proudest moment as a producer, you'd say?
I don't think I've ever thought about this. Boy, I would say one of my proudest moments is entering the real estate genre, which ultimately allowed me to have a second life, and a career pivot. So that's a little bit different. But I do remember, okay, so 2 things. When shows got ratings, when people watched, I remember when the numbers came in, and they come in at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. It is the worst time of the day or the best time of day, and because everybody knows your report card, everybody knows what happens, and I have always felt so responsible for the wins and the losses of any show, despite the fact that I can't bring anybody to watch a television show. I can't force you to do anything. And I distinctly remember when 60 Days In broke the million viewer mark in the demographic that we were looking for. I've never seen so many people happy, and to be at that top of that show was unbelievable. The other is, and I was very grateful to be part of a show that got Emmy-Nominated, and I was one of them. I remember that. I remember that first nomination. I could not believe it. It's one of those where the Emmys they're the North Star, And it's not, none of you vote for the Emmys, but your peers do. And that's why it was so special, is being recognized by my fellow colleagues and peers. And there's 15,000, 20,000 people. And I was one of 5 shows that got nominated in that category for a show that changed the course of my life. Intervention was the reason why I came over to A&E. It was the one show that my wife and I continually watched. Why I love service, and I'm also a first responder because I love the service of it and the giving and helping people. There's so many parts of it, and to be recognized for that show over everything else, not to mention what I knew came with it. The Emmys were always around my anniversary, and the Emmys are in LA, and we have a relationship with the Four Seasons Hotel. And if you know anything about Four Seasons, it is ungodly expensive, except when you don't pay for it. And we got to stay at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. I got to bring my wife to the Emmys, and it was our anniversary. So my network for 4 years in a row paid for our anniversary trip to Beverly Hills and the Four Seasons. And I knew at some point that it wasn't going to last. I knew that people that have much bigger resumes than me have never been nominated. So I knew that, holy cow, this was the most amazing thing. And when they say it's truly an honor just to be nominated, I truly felt like that. I think for me, almost winning wouldn't have been, I don't know, it wouldn't have been right. At that moment. So that was a moment, and that's something that has only gotten more important since I've left the day-to-day of the industry. Because it's something that nobody can ever take away from me. The fact that that show was nominated, I had, again, 12 years. That was the longest show that I ever was a part of. And I think probably close to 150 episodes of that show. And the fact that almost every one of the people that we put on television are sober today, that's the real win. I mean, that is the ultimate.
That's awesome.
So yeah, those are moments. But I think there's some more to come. I now I'm in this season of life. I have a real blessing that I get to be involved with people that I just want to be around. I can say no. So there's a couple shows I'm involved with right now. One that's airing currently on television. Our friend James Daynard, it's $1 Million Zombie Flips. And then another hopefully coming soon. We'll know in a week, but looks pretty good. They're people that I have told I would pay to be around them. And I get to be paid to make and to have a dream of theirs come true. Like, it's literally the coolest thing in the world. I can't be out of television if that opportunity presents itself. But then, it's these opportunities here and contributing to this team. This really what gets me excited. It is my forever. I know I owe you guys that I've been promising for months now. It's coming with something that we're creating together. But to help everybody on this call in some fashion find your voice, be distinct and different, and utilize AI really to supersize and advance everything. It starts with your voice, and that's what I'm really good at, is finding your voice and how you can be distinct and different. And then these guys take over and know all of the AI world to help really advance it very fast. I know I use AI every day. It's AI is made my life so much not easier. It is not easy. Far better. There's some things that happen in my head that don't come out through my mouth or through my fingers, and AI helps me. Like, the reality is, and I knew this many times ago. Ask how many people have actually written their book, like with pen to paper, write every word. Very few. Most of them are ghostwriters. That's what AI is. 100% of somebody's book is real, but their superpower is not writing the words. It's the message of the book. And that's what AI has done for me.
Oh,
I have a question for you, Brad. you have such a long history in all of this stuff, and you've been behind so many amazing things. You've had the shows hit the Emmys, and now you're off on your new journey of life, the next chapter. Just because we have so many different business owners on here from all walks of life, what do you think are some of the biggest things that you've taken away from that history and experience that you have that you're going to be able to bring with you in the future, and maybe some people on this call can gain some insight from? Because I don't think any of us can really get the multitude of what it's like being in your shoes, doing all that kind of stuff. But what are some things that you're able to walk away from all that experience with that can carry with you forever?
Yeah, and just a quick poll, and you could put this in the chat. How many of you have a W-2 job? Day-to-day, quote, 9 to 5 type thing. All right, so there's a lot. Here's the one regret that I have. And I know it's like cool not to say that you don't have regrets and everything. There's regrets. Oh, congrats, Gene. Also, that's weird. When I left, people congratulated me for leaving. And I was like, I don't know if it felt like congrats, but now a year later, I'm like, yes, congrats. Who you are can never be taken away.
That's right.
And what we live with in a W-2 is someone else's identity, right? So you don't say, hi, my name's Brad. You say, hi, I work at A&E. That's kind of your introduction. But how many people 1,500 people work at A&E, but there's only one Brad at A&E. So the one thing that I have learned is no matter where you are and who you are, you need to be developing who you are and what you are. Because one day, your identity is not going to be the job that you have or the career that you have. And what I believe is your unique self is what separates you from everyone else. People want to be in business with people that they know, like, and trust. And I think for me, what I have the gift of, I've been able to tell other people's stories for 20 years. I have made people unforgettable, and it's been such a gift. It's awesome to do that. But I didn't do that for myself. And that was the one thing where I now encourage anybody and everyone, especially if you're in a W-2, and you can do this without upsetting your boss, upsetting the company, because frankly, those companies want you to be happy. They want your voice out there. They want you to do it in a way. Think about, somebody told me this once, airlines. Can anybody, and I know some of you will be able to, name the CEO of American Airlines, Delta, United? None of you can. But Virgin, you know exactly who that person is. So you can be memorable, you can be distinct and different, no matter who or what you are. It's so important for people to own who you are, and that's where you have to understand what your story is. Everybody, the only person that has your story is you. There's going to be somebody out there that's dying to hear what you have to say. So I just posted today. And here's just a little thing. Like I post every day on YouTube, not for you guys. It's actually therapy. It's for me. And by the way, I'm joking because nothing would make me happier than somebody is affected by something I say. But we all have a voice and we all need to do it. It's not polished. I produced television for 20 years and literally this is the setup. I don't edit a thing. I don't do anything. Put yourself out there. You never know who needs to be listening to you at that moment. You never know whose life you're going to change. I had the ability for so many years to change people's lives through my television. And now I have the gift now of doing it myself. So that's the one thing that I tell people is learn how to tell story, learn what your story is. And by the way, that's part of, my work with Brian Dilmar and Francis and the team is we're going to find that. And not only we're going to find it, but we're going to have people stop in the tracks when you tell your story. I bet most of you think that you don't have a story to tell, that you're not important, there's nothing cool about. All of you have something that is lean in ability that somebody wants to hear. It could be that story at that family dinner that happened in 1992. And if you told that story 1,000,000 times, the 1,000,001th would still be fresh and awesome. Think about the people that you follow. You could hear their stories over and over and over again. Everybody has that. Everybody knows that. And you just need to be distinct and different. I use the $2 bill as an analogy. The $2 bill is something that has been such a part of my life for so many years. But why is because have you ever seen someone frame a $100 bill? Not really, maybe at a restaurant. But a $2 bill, you don't spend it. It's memorable. It's a little bit quirky. It's weird. It's fun. But it's only a $2 bill. It's not. Oh, Regina, love that. Yes. That's awesome. I always have it. Actually, it's in my wallet. But nice, Craig. Yeah. We are all living in a sea of ones. Like so many of us are living life in the sea of ones and just having life pass us by. The beauty, again, going back to AI, is we have the ability to amplify our voice like no other time in history. I mean, we can, in a second, our voice can be on so many platforms. Somebody in Turkey, in China, well, maybe not China, but other countries are able to hear you and affected by your voice. And AI can amplify that. So that's the one thing that I learn how to tell your story. It's not easy, but once you get it, it's something that's what's going to separate you from everyone else.
I still have my $2 bill, by the way, that you gave me a couple months ago. It's in my wallet as well, signed by Brad. Listen, guys, Brad has mastered the art of turning anybody, really, everyday people into household names. So I'm excited myself to hear what he's going to be sharing. As he shared with you, we're working on some things together where we can take his specialized knowledge and know-how and expertise and transform that and translate that into helping someone grow their brand and their business. So if you are going to be in Orlando, you do not want to miss this if you're not coming. But if you're going to be in Orlando, you cannot miss that segment and session with Brad. If you attended our last event, Brad also spoke there, and the man had a standing ovation. I didn't say that right. I didn't pronounce that right. But people are standing and clapping for a really, really long time. They absolutely love them. He was the star of the show. And so I'm really excited personally for the next one coming up. And that opened up the door for us to do some really cool stuff together. So looking forward to that, Brad. And if you have any questions for Brad, by the way, I don't want Brian and I to just be the only ones asking questions. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat as well. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat either. I apologize. Yeah, so if you have questions, definitely drop them in the chat if you have any questions for Brad.
Linda talks about podcasts too, because podcasts really, some people, first of all, here's the myth of television. You have to be as pretty as Dolmar to be on television. That is a myth. In fact, and there's a difference between scripted and unscripted. Unscripted is reality television. Scripted is that. Scripted, being an actor, different story. Unscripted, we look, again, I've said this word, distinct and different. If you are, and here's the quote, blonde hair, blue-eyed, 5'2", 110 pounds, okay? But if there's something about you visually that's interesting, that's different, we lean in. So never be when you look in a mirror, the only person that cares is yourself. It really is. Now, with your voice, that's sometimes even harder than the look. Nobody likes the sound of their own voice. If you've ever listened to your voice in a voicemail, remember when we had those voicemail things, you cringe. But guess what? That's beauty to someone else. There's some science behind it. I don't know what it is, and I probably should find it out. But you need to start. And if podcasting is the way to do it, here's why podcasting is beautiful and great, and that's next on my list. For how many minutes? Again, then know, like, and trust. Okay, so no, check. I found you in the podcast. What better way to like somebody is to listen to them for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. What other medium of entertainment are you spending so much time with in one session? You're not doing that on television. You're certainly not doing it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, any of those. So people have supersized their businesses by having a podcast out there. And the thing with podcasts, which is beauty, if there's intention behind it, let's say it's a lead funnel or lead magnet going into your business, it takes one listener to change your life. Do not care about metrics, don't care about downloads, don't care about any of that. One person that's listening can change the trajectory of your life. So think about that. But also, just like anything, you have to be consistent. Not only does all the algorithms reward consistency, but the person that's listening wants to be involved with somebody that is consistent themselves. They don't want flash in the pans. They want history. So I had never done anything on YouTube until about 7 or 8 months ago. And I made it a point where I need to do something that I can be consistent every day, post something on YouTube every single day. And it wasn't for the day. It was for 2, 3, 4 years from now that I can look back and go, that's my resume. That's my current resume. That's who I'm about. Because what do you do anyways? You go to people's social channels and YouTube. There's nothing better than a podcast, though, if you really want to turn somebody from a fan into a customer. That's really where the place is. Think about also when you listen to podcasts. You're pretty focused. I'm on a walk. I'm driving. You are really getting that input in, and it's making a difference. So I welcome anybody that has a voice on podcasts. Now, here's the part with podcasts. Just like any other medium, how are you different than anybody else out there? It's super easy to put a podcast out there. Easier than ever. How are you different? What about you is different? And it has to be organically different. You can't just have clown sound effects in the background. And if I ask you, why do you have clown sound effects? You have no response to it. But even with a podcast, what about it's different? It's not because you have great production value. It's not because it's crystal clear. It's none of that. This is it's a Yeti. It's a very low cost microphone. My camera it's a stream cam. It's like $70 or $80. It doesn't take much for your infrastructure. It's also an excuse of why you're not starting, is because you have to have all this stuff. You just got to do it. Anybody that looks back on their first podcast, cringe. But that's how they took the first step. No baby has ever walked without falling. You've got to fall over and over and over again. And again, the only person that cares is you. Even your enemy, nobody cares. Nobody's going to come at you. You are awful. You are terrible. Every day you get a little bit better. And that's what that should be your intention every day is. If you want to do it and you want to be out there and you want to put yourself out there, just get going, just start. And what's a way that you can be consistent?
Good stuff. Shane, I love your comment. So we have a couple questions coming in here, Brad, and I love these questions. And this is a good one. I especially when I hear your answer to this, because you just changed careers. Have you ever felt like giving up on your dream? If so, what motivated you to keep going?
All right, so I did give up on my dream. My dream was to run a network one day, a television network. I know I have it in me. But once you're in a business for so long, you understand the rules. And the rules are not written. They're unwritten rules. And the person that and this is not an excuse. It's just, I can't change who I am. I can evolve and I can be better, but I can't be worse. I can't. And to be the person that runs a network requires characteristics that I can't do. I can't. So in that form, I gave it up. And you can still tell a little bit of my voice. Am I 100% okay with it? No. Will I ever be okay? No. I would love to be when the worst thing about social media is sometimes seeing where you could be and maybe where you feel like you should be. And I'm not there. Here's the but. You got to have something else. And for me, I'm now in a season where I've tried a lot of things and I've had to try a lot of things. One, because I've had the time and joy, But the purpose that I thought I was on this planet for, to run a network, one, that's not the path. I can't control that. Somebody else has to give me that mantle. And two, it's probably not my path, because I would have been there. I know me. I would have gotten to that seat if it really was meant for me. And I have to understand that the world has a different place for me. I believe that doing what I'm doing with story and creative and helping people with their hooks, finding their unique story, there's millions more people that I can help outside of the day-to-day of the television industry. In an environment that I want to be in, be around people that I love being around. I get to choose the people that I get to work with. It's been a roller coaster ride. There's been many nights that I'm a very emotional person. I've had sleepless nights. It's been a very, very difficult road. But I knew that the destination was, I took a left turn, maybe, and I had to take the left turn. Now I'm going not a little bit backwards, and now I'm making a right turn. And the last probably even just 2 or 3 months have been a completely different life. And I had to go through that, leaving the day-to-day, trying a bunch of different things. I can't tell you what my dream is right now. I really can't. I was very clear for 20 years. I'm in a season right now. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Part of it is, if it works, that it validates the dream that I think it is. And that's hopefully coming. But it is, I really follow my gut a lot. I always try to think, if money didn't matter, am I on the right path? But also the reality is money matters. And the two have to work together. And it's starting. And it's, the hockey stick analogy is, I've been a little bit in that flat area, and just in the last 2-3 months, it's definitely rising. So the skills that I had or have and developed, they're just going to be used differently. Now, the good thing is, and I'm not going to go into all of this, the entertainment industry is really hurting. And one of my dreams in the last year was to build a business that should support some of my fellow friends and colleagues that unfortunately have lost their jobs in the entertainment industry, won't get it back. That's been my dream, to build a business. And I think we're pretty close to doing that. I've been making the calls, and I would love to employ hundreds and thousands of brilliant creatives, just like me, that are helping people like you. And I think, again, we're soon we'll talk more about it, but sometimes your dream is actually not your dream, nor that dream, especially if it's not controlled by you. You've got to be open for a pivot. The last thing I'll say is, entertainment people, you haven't met a lot of entertainment people, because entertainment people, it's a very closed industry. People don't venture out. So you've been in this one thing over and over and over again. And a lot of people have been in it since college, and you haven't had the need to leave the industry. And now you do. So people are really struggling to find out what the ingredients that they've been building for so many years, where does that transfer? So you need to look at yourself too, that maybe that destination, that identity may be in the wrong industry, maybe with the wrong employer. You may want to do it for yourself. But what makes you get up in the morning early? What causes you to go to bed late? That's what you should be doing. On top of that, and I almost guarantee all of that, you can make money doing. You have to make money. You have to, like, for us to be like, oh, the money. I'm telling you, if you don't have money, it's a very different life. So for me, I'm okay with evolving. So anyway, there's a lot going in my head, and I'm not fully speaking, but yeah.
This is great though, and I love this conversation we're having, and a lot of people just based on the comments here, are relating to what you're sharing as well. And you're also getting a lot of encouragement as well, Brad, that you got this. They believe in you. I love this comment here from Emily. She says, "I've given up on my dream, but AI brought it to a different level that includes my dream, but it doesn't limit it." You know, what are your thoughts? You know, one of the things I've been trying to do is to, especially in your world, Brad, I like your insights on this. I've been trying to get folks in the TV world, especially my crew, the people I work with every day, to enroll themselves more into the idea of using AI and leveraging AI. But there's a lot of pushback on it. There's a lot of fear. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Is it a ticking time bomb for that industry? Or, I mean, and how does it relate to what we're talking about on the business side? And, you know, because a lot of what you do in that world also relates to the business side as well, with us running our businesses, growing our brands.
Yeah, and I literally just came off the call. The entire entertainment industry is definitely afraid of AI. Definitely afraid. AI is not going to take your job if you let it. AI will create your job and create something new. It really will. Are we still in a room putting the phone thing like in one knob and transferring to another? You know, are we? You know, there's lots of different jobs that have evolved. And again, if I'm doing something for 20 years, 30 years, 100 years, that's frankly what entertainment is, and something changes, you have two responses. Let it happen to you or make it happen. And there's a lot of people right now that are utilizing AI in their entertainment endeavors. In fact, there is a conference that starts tomorrow that the entire industry is up in arms with, and it's AI in Hollywood. And it is in Culver City, California. There are 1,500 people attending this, way beyond their expectations, because I think the smart people are knowing, how can I utilize this to advance my business? Think about animation, all right? So animation, you used to write every cell. It was a unbelievably exhausting process. And then all of a sudden it turned into computer animation. Pixar, you know, was one of the first really big ones that did it. Those that harnessed computer animation versus drawing won. Not only did they win, they massively won. Now we're on to the next one. Computer animation, now AI. So what creative for me is not a 1 + 1 = 2. To be creative is in so many different forms. So yes, there are going to be people who still use film when they shoot a film. Most people do not use film. In fact, 99% of film and movies are not shot on film. It's all tape. It's all digital, right? So things evolve. The thing is with what people, they get up in arms because they don't understand. They haven't done the work to really understand. I believe, I'm literally, after I get off this call, I'm preparing for a shoot tomorrow. The reason why the shoot is going to be far better tomorrow than it would have been 6 months ago is because of AI. I've trained my platforms in my voice. I've talked to it over time about this project. And I am going to get a shot list. I am going to get sound bites or potential sound bite. All of this is just going to be used as a guide. But I still have to go there and I still have to do the thing. But again, for me to organize my thoughts, it's how we utilize it. Hollywood really is scared because they believe it's going to take their jobs, because they're people that have not had to evolve or had to pivot. And unfortunately, the truth is there are a lot of jobs that are going to be taken away. If you are a voiceover artist, your days are numbered. You are. If you are an editor, you have now an ability to use AI to make your job unbelievably easy. Not easy, sorry. Efficient. And you could do so much more in a smaller amount of time. And there's such a financial pressure in the entertainment industry. If you're the person that says, I can do what normally did in 2 weeks in 1 day, you will get hired over and over and over again. You will be called on to teach people. You're going to win at the end of the day. So the Hollywood industry is really one of those that just is not embracing it whatsoever. And those that are going to win at the end. And those that aren't, unfortunately, it's true. Their jobs are going to be taken, but they let that happen. And it's unfortunate. Like, even just as simple as, again, well, I won't go into other examples, but it's really tough, because even there was a joke on our call, ChatGPT helped me write this description. And I'm like, that's not a joke. Like, your description was amazing because you fed it the right ingredients, and what came out was something that you couldn't do. That's not your job. Your job isn't to be a writer. Your job is to be a visionary. And what AI helped you was help transfer that vision into something that is a really good sales paragraph that will help us at the end of the day. And again, this is what Brian and Dilmar and Francis are doing with this is, I believe 100% of everything, of every platform that I've been introduced to is because of them. They're a wealth of knowledge of everything. And it started literally as simple as Suno. And if you don't know what Suno is, it's probably the greatest thing ever. Suno, basically in 2 sentences, will create a Grammy award-winning song. And by the way, I can say that because I don't know anything about music. So I apologize for those that are artists. It's not taking your jobs away. The great thing about music, I think in the Grammys has 120 categories or something. Like, there's music for everybody. But for me, why I love Suno is I do not have the ability to create music. That's just never been in me. And I'm not creating music for monetary. I'm creating it for my daughter's swim team. My daughter's swim team, she's 11. They have a a chorus of their song that they all shout sing. And I wrote 3 sentences. It took 2 tries, and in about 5 seconds.
I think that's his stuff. That's or something.
Oh, you got
I have a whole entire swim team, love it. I did it at one of our masterminds still. Like, I sent it out after the family mastermind. Like, it's things like this, it's how do you utilize AI in a responsible and ethical way. And for me, what this team is doing is getting you ahead of the game and able to win the game and not feel behind. It's overwhelming right now. I'm so overwhelmed. There's like every single day there's something new that you feel I have to know. I find myself kind of just going a little bit backwards and go, okay, I want to know a couple things really, really well. And other things, Brian will tell me when I need to care about something else, that let me know. Yeah, I'm one that's firmly grasped it. What I'm not utilizing is text to video, all the cool things that you guys are doing, that the team is doing. Not because I don't want to, just not my interest. But into the television world, in fact, somebody just had a round of funding, 100%. They're an AI production company, and they're creating reality television through AI. It's really terrible right now. It's awful. It feels manufactured and fake because I think their inputs aren't great, but they're ahead of the game. They're starting it, and people are taking notice. So again, be distinct, different. Don't follow the trends. Be the trend. Be the one around you that can speak to AI. Be in front of it. You'll be the cool kid at the party if you understand this world. And what Brian and Dilmar and Francis and the entire team has for you is to make it really easy to be the cool kid at the party. Super easy. And in 3 days in Orlando, and this feels like a sales, but it's not really. The 3 days in Orlando plus their every other week workshops, that's all you need. Actually, it's not, because once you get there, you're going to want more and more and more and more. I show up at least once a week on their calls because I'm so interested in any of this, and it changes so fast. And they're on the forefront. So
yeah, I blame Brian. I blame Brian for getting me in trouble last week because he showed me this tool where I could just type text and turn text into pictures and images and video. And so Brad, you weren't on our happy hour call last week, but I was showing all of the attendees last week how I put my wife's face on Kim Kardashian body. And then I was doing some other fun stuff and having her say all these things to me. And I got in trouble, by the way, after that, because my wife has not let me forget that call. All like, oh, I guess I put me on a different body. What? She is not letting me live that down.
Oh, it's so good.
I blame Brian for that.
I didn't tell you to do that. No, there's like the video, like Suno, by the way, actually I have the most fun with my kids with Suno, so I'm on the same board as Brad with that. But video was kind of like, it wasn't great, VO3 that just came out by Google. Honestly, the only problem with it is it's just not long enough. It's only like 9 seconds long, but the kind of things you can create now, if you haven't tried that tool, I'm having so much fun. And it's unbelievably real. Like it is hard to distinguish that it's AI. And I just think to myself, imagine when that 9 seconds turns into 30 minutes. And when that 30 minutes turns into an hour and a half, like it's coming. But I can't believe like what we're witnessing right now. And the AI just keeps moving so fast. Like every single week. I say this, but I'm not kidding. Like I have the free Facebook group. Many of you are probably in it. I probably post maybe 5 times a day or so. And I've done that for over a year, consistently. I don't know that I really miss a day. And I've never had a problem having something to post about ever. Like there's just that much going on and I'm not getting to all of it.
Yeah.
Just on a daily basis, there's something happening in AI. And I don't see it slowing down. It's just going to keep continuing to accelerate. Maybe it does sometime, but it's not right now. I can tell you that. But anyway, man, I'm so glad you hopped on here, Brad. I'm so glad you're coming to Orlando. By the way, I don't know if we can, but any sneak peek as to what you're going to be covering in Orlando?
I'm between a few topics, but so my last topic was finding your hook. But the question that I've been asked, and certainly I've seen a little bit of this, but what is my hook? Like I can't hook you if I don't know what the hook is. And that's what we start with. That's the whole television process is we start with what is the hook and then how to hook them. So my gut is I'm going to talk a lot about it will be the precursor to my first speech. Is how do you find out who your unique self is, and what the process is. And I've got a couple of frameworks that I've developed that really understand that. So that's a little bit of that. And what I'm hoping to do is bring out some more stories from the field. Because the one thing when you're in W-2 environment and you're around people, you just kind of like live through that job in that industry. And the great thing about television is you find yourself in these unbelievably nutty, crazy places. And you just go like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is, I tell this story that the first time I would travel down to West Monroe, Louisiana, to visit the Robertsons. I was so excited. I was such fans of them. And to be welcomed inside their house was an unbelievable treat. And I always go to Walmart when I'm in a new place. And why do I go to the Walmart? Is that's the true flavor of that town. And if y'all know Walmart, you know that's true. And I love to talk to people. So before I could talk to somebody, somebody came up to me and said, "You're not from around here, right?" Within seconds of me being at a Walmart. And I turn around and it wasn't a mean comment. It was just somebody that literally I did stick out in West Monroe, Louisiana. And that promoted a conversation. Why are you here? And I said it. And they looked at me. The Robertsons weren't celebrities. They were people of the community that took care of the community. And that conversation, before I even met the Robertsons, it's almost like it was staged. The fact that they're like, they are the most grateful, giving family. Like it wasn't about, they were multimillionaires at that point. And the fact that it was not about that, it was about who they are as characters. Like it's those moments you just can't, and I told them the story, like, as soon as I met them. I'm like, you have somebody paid this person to be at Walmart to tap on my shoulder. And they just looked at me and said, we can just be who we are. This is what we love doing. And we're so grateful that we've affected millions more lives through this television show. But that's where, for them, they found what their hook was, what their voice was. And they're able to do a lot of good with that. So anyways, that's a little bit of the preview is, how the hell do you know who you are, what you are, and what's going to resonate? That's what I think is been part of the joy that I've had over the course of 20 years, is to help people and help them become unforgettable with what makes them so distinct and different. Sometimes you can't see the person looking on the other side of the mirror. Sometimes it takes somebody else to look at you to have you understand what makes you as great as you are.
I agree.
Nice. By the way, a couple of you are asking about the tools for the text to video or text to photo. Here's a couple of the ones I use. Leonardo.ai is one of them. It's a really good one. Magnific.ai is another one. The one I was playing with and having a lot of fun with this week that got me in trouble is AKOOL.com. You also got runwayml.com. So these are a couple. But guys, come out to the event in Orlando. By the time the event even comes around, even though it's literally just a few weeks away, Brian, I'm sure, is going to constantly be updating his slide deck, his presentation, because of new changes and new tools that are coming out. So for those of you that are interested in coming out to the event, the link is in the chat. Brian just posted it about 2 comments up. Check out the website. I would love to have you. It is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be one of our biggest events yet, just because of the sheer interest in AI and the desire to learn how to leverage AI in your personal life and also your business life to be more efficient and more productive and allow it to help you make more money. And so we're going to be sharing some really cool stuff. Brian, you want to talk about some of the things you're going to be sharing as well?
Yeah, I'm going to be going into some pretty amazing tools. We'll be getting into video, and I'm also going to be touching on some app building stuff there. I'm not going to spoil too much of it because I got some tricks up my sleeve, but you guys should definitely be there. It's going to be completely different than last time. We have quite the lineup. Obviously, Brad's going to be coming. We have the co-founder of ClickUp, one of the biggest AI companies out there, a $4 billion company. We have one of the best automation experts in the world as well coming, and many other people. One of the best video creation guys at creating like video ads. He's worked with Chase Bank and Mike Tyson and Russell Brunson and Grant Cardone, and the list goes on. Many people. So it's going to be amazing. And just to wrap up on today, I wanted to point one thing out that Brad mentioned, just because it really resonated with myself. It literally resonates to today. It's just going out there and taking swings at bat. He said he was talking about like Babe Ruth and the home runs, and he had a lot of times at bat. Well, one thing he didn't mention is that he like was among the highest in MLB history of strikeouts, of striking out. So I think he averaged about 16% strikeout ratio. But everybody remembers him for all the wins. Like when I started, I'm not a good speaker, by the way. I'm passionate. You guys probably tell that. And I'm working on it, by the way. But it's all been practice. Like even to get here, I don't want to say too much information because it kind of is a little gross. But like when I first started speaking, even virtually, I had a waste basket next to me just in case I got sick because I was so nervous. But I just did it anyway. And I just feel so blessed to even to get where I'm at right now, because I'm at that point that Brad talked about where the thing that keeps me up to 3 a.m, the thing that drives me, I can monetize it. And I did just go after it I had like horse blinders on where nobody could tell me anything, like don't do it, it's a bad idea or anything like that. Years back when we decided to just take this route, I was just on it. I was like, I know this is it. And so if you're like feeling that, stop second guessing yourself. Stop saying I need a business card or I need a website or I need to know more. Or I don't know if people are going to like what I have to say. Just go out and screw it all up. Like what's the worst that can happen? Somebody once told me that analogy. They said, Brian, what's the worst that can happen? It was one of my mentors, Ron LeGrand, actually. And I told him, like, I'm going to fail or whatever. He's like, yeah, but what's the best that can happen? And I was like, well, I'm going to kick ass and I'm going to make a bunch of money. He's like, well, what are you going to focus on then, the best or the worst? And it's just kind of true. We get in our heads a little bit. Even when I did a interview recently with the founder of Zillow, the CEO, Spencer Razkoff, and he literally just said, like, the key is just getting out there and making it happen. Everybody dwells so much on being perfect before they launch, but you learn the most about what you're supposed to do and what the people want from you and what they want to buy from you when you just get out there and start trying to sell it. You're never going to get those experiences. You're never going to learn that stuff or understand that stuff until you go out and do that. And like Spencer said, because he teaches startups at Harvard, that's one of his key things is just go out there and screw it up. Like, and come back, refine it, and continue to do that. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up again because that was some really solid advice from Brad, is just to get out there and start taking swings at bat. There's nothing else. It doesn't matter about the tools you pick, the AI tools you pick, who you're learning it from, or anything else. That the primary thing that's going to make you excel is just taking the action to do it. Because otherwise, like, all the stuff that you've learned from us or whoever you've learned it from, it turns into entertainment if you're not using it. So take action with this stuff and just start doing something. So anyway,
I'd just say we haven't talked about age, and I think this is important, is the beauty of what's happening now is whether you're 10 or 100, it does not matter. At any point, no matter how old you are, what age, what experience, you can take a hold of it. In fact, if you are midlife or older, like I am, you have an advantage. You have years. You know what's happened in the past. You can stack all of your past to move forward with this. You have an incredible advantage over the 21, 22-year-olds. We're not talking about coding. We're not talking about it. Like, it used to not be that. It used to be the young and hungry one. AI democratizes all of that. And you have the advantage because you've lived. So I truly say that not as a motivation whatsoever, but it's fact and it's truth. I don't think there's ever been a time where if you're 75 years old, you can compete and win against a 21-year-old in technology. I mean, it's true. That's what AI is. So I get excited about that is because we all are on the same playing field with this. There is no advantage whatsoever. Nobody's hiring the 21-year-old. It's all about how to utilize this and move it forward. So I say that because I see a lot of people that look like me and are there's a mountain. What AI has done is, I believe, you haven't crossed on the other side of the mountain. No matter what you are, you're almost at the bottom of the mountain, frankly. And all of us are. And who climbs the mountain the smartest and fastest and utilizes that, they're going to win at the end of the day. So I love seeing all ages on this call, from young to old, because it truly is. Again, I don't think there's anything like entertainment does not hire old people. They don't. There is an ageism inside Hollywood, and that's I felt that myself. And the beauty of this is that's not that. I don't think it is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I truly believe that we have an opportunity here, no matter who or what you are, where you are. If you're, by the way, that's the other thing. You could live anywhere, you could be anywhere, and you can still win in this. And let Brian and Francis and Dolmar and the team. They're going to give you the tools to do so. They really are. They've given me the tools. Manus is something that we haven't talked about on this call, and I know there's a Manus killer. I don't understand any. I got my blinders on. I'm like, I don't want to hear about this other thing. But with Manus, I can't tell you still after how many months now of it being out and being a game changer, I've introduced to. Just yesterday, I told somebody about it. So let us be the ones. There are so many people that know nothing. They've heard of ChatGPT, maybe, but everything else they haven't. So be that person that helps other people into this world by being that AI expert, which is something that they easily can help you with. All right, so that's my TED Talk, if you will, when it comes to who or what you are.
Can we give it up for Brad in the comments here? This guy, he's not just smart and like amazing to listen to, but just like the most genuine person. And I don't know, like I guess I just didn't expect that from like a TV producer that's been behind Emmy award-winning shows. Like I expected more of a cockiness or something, and I don't mean that to like look down on the industry or anything. I just never met anybody that did what you did, and you've just been like really just the most down-to-earth, genuine, amazing person, and I appreciate you. So I thank you for hopping on, spending your time with all the folks on tonight, because I know some of them can't make Orlando, so you're able to bless them with some of your stuff on tonight's call. And if you can make it, we would all love to have you, obviously. I'll put the link one more time in the chat as well. But thank you for hopping on. I don't want to keep, I want to respect your time, Brad, and respect everybody else on the call. But thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate you. Delmar, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you, Delmar. Such a treat.
No, thank you, Brad. It's really an honor having you on here, man. Thank you so much for sharing.
All right, everybody, have a good evening. Thank you so much. We're gonna see a lot of you soon in person. Like, wait to hang out, shake your hands, spend some time together. As you know, if you were at the last event, we don't go hide in our rooms after the event. We're out there hanging out with you guys and spending time together. So looking forward to it. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Bye now.
That's a wrap for this episode of the AI for Business podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit subscribe and pass it along to a friend or colleague. We appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you in the next one.